Welcome to the Christian Woman Leadership Podcast, where we hope to inspire you to embrace your God-given gifts, skills, and passions in order to lead with confidence. We want you to remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God, and you are fully loved by Him.
You have been designed on purpose by God with unique gifts and passions in order to love and lead those around you. I'm your host, Esther Littlefield, a pastor's wife, business owner, mom, and writer.
And I'm Esther's co-host, Holly Kane. I'm a wife, mom, and business owner. I also write at hollykane.org, where I focus on my passion for women's ministry.
Together, we chat about important issues that Christian women leaders face. In addition, we interview other women just like you who lead in various roles, from church to community to business. Through this podcast, we offer you encouragement, tools, and resources to help you on your leadership journey. We are so glad you're here with us. Hi, friend, and welcome to episode 118 of the Christian Woman Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Esther Littlefield, and I am so excited that you are here with me today. Now, this is a fun episode and a fun week because currently my program, The Confident Leader Catalyst, is open this week for enrollment in the fall round. So this episode is going to be a little bit different, and I'm excited for you to hear directly from 3 of the women who participated in the last round. And I think you will love hearing about their experiences and their stories. And even if you're not considering the Confident Leader Catalyst or you have no idea what it is, I would still invite you to listen and hear what they have to say, because they're going to share some great little snippets and nuggets of wisdom throughout our conversation. Now, before we dive in and hear from them, I would just want to let you know that if you are interested in being able to step out of your comfort zone and into your calling with confidence, clarity, and courage, then I invite you to head over to confidentleadercatalyst.com and get all the details about this program. You can also reach out to me on social media or send me an email, hello@estherlittlefield.com. If you have questions, I will make it my priority to get back to you and answer any questions that you have. We will also be talking about this inside of the Purposeful Leadership group throughout the week. So feel free to pop in there and ask your questions or check out any of the Facebook Lives that I might be doing throughout the week. All right. Now, if you're listening to this episode after the program is closed for enrollment, then go ahead and just hop on the waitlist and you'll be the first to know when I have another opportunity for you to join. So I'm excited to introduce you to the 3 women that you're going to be hearing from on this episode. First off is Jen. So let me introduce you to Jen.
Well, I'm Jen Chepkis, and I live in Minnesota. I'm a mother of 2 wonderful kids entering their teenage years, so that's a new venture for me. And I'm a small business owner and also a Christian chaplain. So I wear a couple of different hats. And part of starting this leadership journey is wearing all of those hats, from motherhood to being a business owner and being a chaplain.
Next, we have Marie. Here is Marie's intro.
I am 71, started my experience later in life. God called me to this in 2008, but I had things that I had to learn and things I had to do before it became a full-time business. So I do workshops in my home for women. My ministry is not in the church. My ministry is outside of the church. I work with the women who don't go to church.
Yeah.
That will never go to church. And they come to my workshops. So I am a seed planter, and I love every moment of it. Right now, I'm trying to learn how to adjust and go to Zoom with everything. And that's a little hard because I like being in person, because these women need that hands-on. Sometimes it's hard, but I've truly been blessed, and I love it. I love it.
And last, we have Brandy. Take a listen to what Brandy has to say.
I am currently a seminary student, so I'm back in grad school for a master's in spiritual biblical formation and discipleship. And aside from that, I just enjoy learning and growing more in my relationship with God. So those are kind of like the two biggest things going on in my life right now.
All right, now let's hear from each of these women about what life was like for them before they joined the Confident Leader Catalyst, what they were doing, kind of what their life looked like before they joined.
Well, I would say, Esther, that I am entering my middle years where I am seeing a number of my colleagues step into retirement. And so those of us in our middle years are being called up to leadership.
Yeah.
And I found myself holding some desires around that to do leadership well and to understand, what does that look like as a Christian? What does God call me to in leadership? And I needed more than what I currently had. And so that's kind of what it looked like before stepping into the Confident Leader Catalyst.
Well, I always thought that I was confident because I can walk into a room and be right at home. Okay. I don't have a problem with anything like that. But I realized taking this class, there was a lack of confidence in going forward with some of the things I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And the class really opened up my eyes to that. Mm-hmm. And I just loved it. The one thing that I loved the most were your 3 C's, your confidence, your clarity, and the courage. Taking action. And I have taken action since I've taken this class. I've started doing Facebook Lives. I would never do that before. And if I make a mistake, it's okay. So that way it has built my confidence up, just going out there and trying it. And you know what? That's all I can do is try. Right. So that part has been a big help. As confident as I thought I was, there were areas I was not.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I knew that the Lord, had called me to work with women. And at that time, I was pretty solid in knowing how He had called me to work with women. I had gone through a coach training program. So I am still a certified Christian life coach.
Yeah.
But there was that part of me that just wanted more courage and more confidence to be able to get out there and do the work. I was more of that person that was the behind the scenes, I'll create all the graphics and all the materials. But when it came time to actually put it out there, that was my stuck point.
All right. Now I'd love for you to hear what these gals have to say about why they decided to jump into the Confident Leader Catalyst.
I felt like having a group of women on the same life journey, in the same life stage, would be really helpful to be able to visit about what we were learning about together. So I would say that was probably the point at which I said yes, because can I learn all of this on my own? Yeah, I definitely can. But there is something about being in community with other Christian women that is significant. And I wanted that.
I've been following you on Facebook and I like what you say and I like the different things that you were doing. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it an opportunity to do it.
Okay.
And it's the first time I have ever seen a leadership course to help build up your confidence.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that from a Christian perspective.
Right.
And that's what I was looking for. Looking for that. And I love the fact that we went back to the basics right in the beginning.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Who am I in Christ? How do I stay focused on Him? How do I follow Him?
Yeah.
So that's what I like the most about it.
I'm one of those people who likes to kind of investigate. And I came across you. I came across your blog, your podcast, actually. And I started listening to some episodes and reading some blog posts. And so when I heard about the program, I was like, okay, this seems like a solid thing for me to invest in. And the funniest part of that was that I had been developing my own program. And I think I told you about this.
Yeah.
And everything that I wanted to help other women address in some way, shape, or form was a part of your program. And I was just like, okay, Lord, like, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to do here? So that was like one of those big things, like, okay, Brandy, like, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember you sharing that you kind of were like, okay, this was something I was wanting to create, but I was struggling with actually having the confidence to create it myself, right?
Yeah. It was like that, like, imposter syndrome. Cause I think, it was like, I still feel like I need some of these things as well.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, like getting in this program and like getting some of this from somebody else that like would help me to at least like move down that road to being more confident.
All right. Now these gals are going to share with us what made the biggest impact for them or what they enjoyed about the experience of participating in the Confident Leader Catalyst.
Well, part of what the program did was to present leadership from a biblical worldview. And some takeaways from that are leadership as a servant leader, which looks different than, I would say, worldly leadership. So that sitting in scriptures that focuses on that was very helpful for me. And I think just understanding how to steward the gift of leadership as a gift from God was something that I took away. So I think that I changed in feeling more confident because of that.
Okay.
It's not all about me. It's about gifts that God gives us and how are we stewarding that, which feels different than me trying to shine up and be a good leader and have it come from something that I'm doing. Well, as I said earlier, being in the community of women was critical. I think that was so helpful to have them and to just walk the journey with them.
Right.
And we had some homework. It wasn't without work, which is good because things take time. Good things take time. And at one point in the homework, we kind of gathered up what we had been working on. And we looked at what are our values? What are our giftings? Who are the people in our life? And when I put all of that together, it helped me to see the big picture for me personally.
Right.
So that was very impactful.
Yeah. It's amazing what happens when you, like you said, it's a lot of these things are often things that we kind of already know, but it's kind of seeing it in a journey together with other people and doing that work together that can make a big difference in how we perceive it and how we're able to grow from it. So
yes.
awesome.
And I think taking the time to focus on it is very helpful, to have that planned time with you each week and then to be in the homework. There's just some intentionality around that can be lost when we're doing something on our own. It's easy to not do it on our own. It's harder when we're more accountable to a group.
And I also love the honesty and the openness of the other women that were in the class.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really amazing to see just the conversations we had on the live calls and how vulnerable people were and how much support there was within the group. I feel like it was such a supportive group of women. Yeah.
So it was really good. And especially for me, because I've had a lot of slack about my ministry and not doing a ministry in the church, but ministering to the women on the outside of the church. So this really helped me to strengthen knowing, no, God has called me to this. This is what he wants me to do. And my husband and I are part of the Christian Motorcyclists Association, and we go to a lot of events. Well, these women need me. And I can't shy away from them. And they're not going to be in church.
Right.
So I have a big audience there, and the women need someone that will come up and minister to them and not be frightened by their lifestyle. And say, no, I believe in you. You have value, and we're going to work on it. Take you through some steps. So it just really reinforced that, no, this is where God has called me, and I can be confident in it and not let people say, no, you have to be in the church.
Just like the general kind of taking like purpose and calling out of this like very specific like place, and just like really understanding how general it is, like, like who we're called to be kind of just for first and foremost as like Christians, as believers,
Yeah.
as daughters of God. And that's somewhere that God is working on me right now, just like, okay, I've been looking at this like specific like game plan for so long.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think a lot of times it can be really intense,
Yeah.
to just,
Right.
this is this one way that you have to walk out purpose or
Right.
calling. And if you don't walk it out in that way, you miss it. And it's just like,
Right.
no, there are so many other ways that we can fulfill the purpose because it's not that specific. So
Yeah.
that just really like, it really helped me. And especially as I'm kind of like moving through this season of like, okay, well, which way do I go?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like so helpful.
Okay. Let's find out what has changed for these ladies since they joined and what they've been doing afterwards and how that has made a difference for them.
Well, what I would say is that I took all of the elements from the Catalyst and I put them into a leadership book. And that book continues to grow and I reference back to it. And that helps me in my daily life as a leader, because sometimes I think we can get focused on that big moment or the big moments in our life when we're going to do that leadership thing.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's in the day-to-day that leadership is implemented most of the time.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
So I reference those materials in the day-to-day, and I feel like that is where it's been most helpful for me.
I have a website now.
You've stepped forward.
It's growing.
Yep.
And since I've taken this class, I've written 5 blogs for it.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes, I'm telling you, it just gave me a whole different attitude of, this is where God's called me, go forward with it.
Yeah.
And,
right.
So it's EvaMarieWorkshops.com. That's my website.
I feel like it is, I don't know, like there's a sense of permission, I guess, just to still be learning and growing and discovering, like parts of myself. And because even in the program, like that was a part of it, just like kind of looking at our unique makeup and just, the different ways that God has uniquely woven each of us together.
Right.
And so not that, like that being a part of the process, and that constant kind of learning and growing and evolving. I think that like having that permission has been like freeing. And then just knowing that confidence is like a more of a product of like courage. And so when we build up the courage and like when we do things that kind of scare us a little bit, then we're able to know that we have the ability to do something, and that like, jacks up our confidence. So just like knowing that and being able to keep that in mind has been like super helpful for me as I move forward. Yeah, just to make like bold decisions and even decisions that everybody might not understand. And I mean, as a leader, like, you are called to make those decisions at times, and you have to be confident and secure enough in them to be able to, choose that way.
Lastly, I'd love for you to hear, what would these 3 women say to you if you're considering joining the Confident Leader Catalyst? Here's what they have to say.
I would say that the program helps you come along in your Christian leadership. I think being surrounded by other godly women helps with that journey. And at one point you write a declaration, a statement that is true for you.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can take forward. And it really helps to remind us of what God says about us and how we can put that into play in our lives every day. So I would encourage women who need that little bit of boost to move into being a more confident leader to consider the Catalyst.
I would tell them to jump in because I still wasn't sure it was right for me when I started, but it was, because as confident as I thought I was, there were areas where I wasn't.
Yeah.
And this really brought it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I loved about it the most.
Okay.
And I love the fact that the basics of the whole program is around what God has for me.
Yeah.
And God and me.
Yeah.
So, I would say take it.
I would say to not come in with any expectations of like what the process will look like, because I don't know, like I feel like when we're open, when we have like, of course, like you have a desire to become confident, right?
Right.
I mean, if you're looking at it, like you already have that desire, but like as far as, it needs to look like X or it needs to look like Y, just like really come in, like if you can come in with like an open heart to like what you are going to learn, and not just from you, Esther, but from like even the other women in the group and their input and their experiences. And I mean, because there was such a wide variety of them in our cohort, I feel like you'll come out on the other side and like just really be able to see like how the Lord moved, and I mean, be able to tap into like all the goodness that came from the experience. So that would be my encouragement.
All right, friend, I hope you enjoyed hearing from these 3 women about their experiences in the Confident Leader Catalyst. If you're in a similar place to any of these 3, or if you are struggling with the idea of being able to lead with confidence, maybe you're not clear on your gifts or how you can actually make an impact or what God is calling you to do. If you can't seem to muster up the courage to step out and do what God is calling you to do, I want to invite you to check out the Confident Leader Catalyst. You can again go to confidentleadercatalyst.com or just click the link in the show notes and you'll head right over there to get all the details. I want to thank you again for being here with me today for this episode, and I can't wait to see you hopefully inside of the Confident Leader Catalyst or anywhere else online, whether it's in the Purposeful Leadership Facebook group or on social media. I hope to continue to connect with you and continue to provide you this podcast so that you can continue growing in your leadership and stepping out into what God is calling you to do. All right, friend, talk to you next week. Thanks for joining us on the Christian Women Leadership Podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, come and join us in our private Facebook community. We would love to get to know you better so that we can make sure the podcast is providing what you need. Plus, you can share your questions and ideas, and you'll be surrounded by incredible Christian women leaders. To join the group, visit estherlittlefield.com/group. Now, don't forget, your leadership matters, and it's time for you to embrace your gifts and lead with confidence.